So you've got a furnished place, a couch that didn't come cheap, and a stranger moving in for 3 months. Now what do you do about a security deposit? Most landlords either wing it or Google it at 11 p.m. and end up more confused than before. Here's the thing about midterm rentals. They live in this weird middle zone between a short-term vacation vibe and a full-on lease situation, and that means your deposit strategy has to be smarter than average. You're not renting a hotel room, but you're also not handing someone the keys forever, so the rules you use for both extremes kind of fall apart here. The first question you should ask yourself is how much stuff is actually in this unit, because furnished rentals have way more moving parts than an empty box with carpet. We're talking furniture, linens, kitchen gear, small appliances, maybe a TV, and every single one of those things can walk out the door scratched, broken, or just vibes gone wrong, ruined. A common starting point that experienced midterm hosts lean on is 1 to 2 months worth of rent as a deposit. And that number isn't random. It's designed to cover the cost of replacing or repairing furnishings without leaving you in the financial equivalent of a sad trombone moment. But before you just pick a number, you actually need to sit down and calculate the replacement value of everything in that unit. Yes, everything. Down to the throw pillows and the garlic press. If your furniture and gear add up to $8,000, your deposit ceiling should reflect that you have real skin in the game here. Now here's something a lot of landlords skip and then regret. Itemizing every single thing in a move-in inspection checklist with photos, dates, and condition notes like you're filing evidence in a courtroom drama. Without that documentation, a tenant can hand you back a cracked coffee table and a missing blender, and your deposit dispute becomes a he said, she said episode with no good ending. State laws are absolutely in this conversation whether you invited them or not, because most places cap how much you can charge and dictate exactly how many days you have to return it after move-out. You could build the most brilliant deposit structure in the history of landlording and still get taken to small claims court because you held the money 30 days longer than your state allows. Some midterm landlords split the deposit into 2 buckets, one for physical damage and one specifically for furnishings, which sounds extra but actually makes disputes way easier to resolve. When a tenant sees a breakdown that says $250 is specifically protecting that sectional couch, they tend to treat the sectional couch like it owes them something. There's also the question of whether to use a traditional security deposit or a damage waiver program, which works more like a non-refundable fee that covers a set amount of accidental damage. Damage waivers are popular in the short-term world, but they're creeping into midterm territory, and the trade-off is that tenants love paying less upfront while you give up some protection on the back end. One thing that catches landlords off guard is the difference between normal wear and tear versus actual damage, because legally those are 2 very different things and you can't deduct for the former. A scuff on the wall after 3 months is expected. A burn mark on the dining table shaped suspiciously like a waffle iron is a different conversation entirely. Your lease agreement needs to spell out the deposit terms in plain language, what it covers, what it doesn't, how deductions are calculated, and the timeline for returning what's left. If your lease says the deposit covers damages and nothing else, you've basically written yourself a permission slip to lose an argument. Some landlords also require a pet deposit on top of the standard one when tenants bring animals, because a dog with separation anxiety and a linen couch is a math problem nobody wants to solve after move-out. Keep in mind that in some states, a pet deposit has its own rules separate from the regular deposit, so check your local laws before you add that line to the lease. The smartest thing you can do before a tenant ever walks through the door is price your furnishings honestly and ask yourself what it would cost you right now to replace them, not what you paid 5 years ago on a Facebook Marketplace deal. That honest number should anchor your whole deposit calculation because sentiment doesn't pay the furniture store. Midterm rentals attract traveling nurses, remote workers, and corporate relocators. People who generally treat properties well because they're professionals trying to keep their lives together, not spring breakers testing the structural limits of your balcony. That said, generally treats properties well is not a deposit strategy, and optimism without documentation is just a sad story waiting to happen. At the end of the day, a well-structured security deposit is less about assuming the worst and more about making sure both you and your tenant know exactly where the lines are before anyone touches anything. If you want to learn more about how our company helps midterm landlords set up their properties and protect their investments, check out the links in the description.